Anything new, Marco? What's going on with you since last week?
I showed up to class for the first time for my exercise physiology class for the first time in about 3 weeks today. Um,
What'd they say?
Nothing.
They're not like, who's this weird kid?
No, I don't know, like, my teacher, like, called on me, and anytime, like, um, so, like, we go through the notes from the lecture we had to watch the day before or whenever. So we watched the lecture before class. Then there's objectives, and you answer, like, the objectives, essentially. And then you go over it in class, but go into more detail. And anytime she calls on me, my like time presenting this stuff to the class is way shorter than anybody else's, and it's because I pretty much cover everything that's needed without her like asking too many questions. And then when she does answer the questions, I typically answer them right away. So it's like the most stress-free thing in the world, but I think she was just more like she wants to go into more detail, but it's hard for her to go into more detail when I cover it.
Right.
But I also feel like there's like kind of that like I don't know if like I was a teacher and I didn't have to like go into like force them to go into detail, I would kind of be like, ah, great, it's one of those kids, the smart ones, you know. But like sometimes like she will call on me and I won't have any idea like what she's talking about for like the in detail stuff. But like that stuff is like when like usually like I just don't understand the question she's asking. But then like when she rephrases it, I'm like, oh, now this makes way more sense.
I know it's not what you meant to say, but what you pretty much just said was sometimes the teacher calls on me and I know the answer, and sometimes I don't.
A majority of the time I do know the answer. The only time I don't know the answer, it depends on how she words it because I'm not very good at listening. And unless you use like baby words, I'm not going to have any idea what you're saying.
So they have to explain to you like you're in a third grader.
Yeah, yeah. See, this
And if,
means good and that means bad. Don't do
ladies and
bad.
gentlemen, he's only 2 years away from being your physical therapist.
No, no, no.
As long as you use small
I'm my
words.
senior year and 3 years of grad school.
So 4 years,
4 years.
sorry. 4 years, you're going to have to use very small words to describe your injuries to him. What makes ouchie?
I have boo boo on hip.
Speaking of which, how's your doctors going? They ever let you go to a specialist
So
yet? Or
I go on Wednesday for my hip popping, but today I realized when I raised my leg up, my hip didn't pop. So I've been having this hip popping problem that was also painful for the past like 3 months or something. And then last Friday, I finally get a hold of a doctor, finally get something scheduled for this Wednesday. And what happens? No hip pop on Monday.
cured?
I do like what am I going to walk in and do? Like, oh, I had this hip problem for the past 3 months and it just magically disappeared.
Might not hurt.
But I could also bring up my
Sleep.
hamstring injury that I've had the past 3 months because that doesn't seem to be going away. So like I could always just fill the time. Um, I could talk about my inability to multitask. Maybe I could talk about how I just like can't like my attention span is very low. I could just start talking about like random problems. Maybe I could say I have like some like fake disorder or something.
I mean, you could. I just don't think you know what a physical therapist does
No, I'm not going. I'm going to my actual doctor.
for this issue.
Yeah, because he said he wanted to see me before he sent me to a physical therapist. But
That's just his ego
he
talking.
also does like physical manipulation and stuff, like kind of like chiropractic stuff. So he may
Hmm.
want to work on it on his own as opposed to sending me to a physical therapist.
He will not send you to that specialist.
Like
He
if
would rather die
it
than watch one of his patients go to a
if it was
specialist.
a long term problem, most definitely. But if he feels like it's not a long term thing, then it's like he would just if he feels like it's long term, he would send me to a physical therapist, I think. But if he feels like it's something he could correct in maybe like that session or just a couple sessions, then it's like there's no need of going to the specialist for a long period of time.
All right, fair enough.